So once again, thank you for joining us for today's MicroAge Talks Technology webinar that we called Teach Your Team to Catch a Fish. And it's kind of a play on words. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the adage, give somebody a fish and you feed them for a day, teach them to fish, and they're going to be good for the rest of their lives. They're not going to go starving. And so that's kind of what it's based on. And we present these webinars a couple times a year, really to demonstrate the importance of cybersecurity awareness training, and which helps protect organizations against phishing attacks. So my name is Maria Fiore. I'm the Director of Operations here at MicroAge, and I'm joined by Sergio Lima, Director of Customer Success at MicroAge as well. Welcome, Sergio.
Hello, everyone.
So before we begin, a few housekeeping notes. Attendees are muted, mainly to reduce any background noise. We enjoy answering questions, so please ask questions throughout the presentation by using the questions panel of the webinar tool, which is usually found on the right-hand side of the tool. The webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be sent to you within the next 24 hours for your review and to share with people you think would benefit from listening in. In the same email, you will also have a link to download the free cheat sheets we are making available to you. Lastly, at the end of the webinar, you will be receiving a short 3-question survey to gather your feedback on the webinar. Your feedback helps us improve future webinars, so we thank you in advance for helping us with this and taking a few seconds to answer the survey. So before handing things over to Sergio, sorry, Sergio, I almost forgot your name there for a minute. I'll take a moment to give a brief overview of MicroAge for those who may not know us. So MicroAge is a Canadian technology service provider with 38 locations across Canada. We've been providing IT services and solutions to our clients since 1981. Our approach is based on one key area, which is understanding your business. We want to understand your operations, your goals, your challenges, and your opportunities. So this helps us to recommend and provide the IT services and solutions that are right for you. So in short, that's our why. And Sergio, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Maria. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Here's our agenda for this today's session. We will go through a little bit of an update of the cybersecurity statistics versus the last time we did this. So you'll see a difference whether it's up or down. The importance of what we call the human firewall, what does that mean exactly, and what we can put in place to educate your employees and make them more aware of what's happening in the cybersecurity landscape. And obviously, right after that, we're going to start our little exercise of questions and email templates or email samples to give you an idea of what typical questions you may be getting in the training sessions that we do with our cybersecurity awareness, and the typical types of emails that you may be receiving in spam, and see if you can catch whether they are legit or a phish. And we'll just follow it up with questions. Actually, questions are, you can ask them at any given point during the presentation. So with that said, let's look at the numbers. Top left, 89.8% of Canadian organizations have had at least one cyber attack in 2022. If I compare that to 2021, it was at 85.7%. So there is an increase, unfortunately, for Canadian organizations, which means they are still experiencing an increase in cyber attacks. Next one on right after that is the 63.3% of organizations that were impacted in some shape, way, or form by ransomware, which also has gone up from 61%, 61.2%. So again, obviously with more cyber attacks, you get impacted more frequently, and obviously it causes headaches and pains and lost data and loss of revenue, etc. The next one, 85.4%, is more of a, I guess, a prediction, is the percentage of organizations that are expected to be hit by cyber attacks in 2023. Then if you go to the bottom left, 42%, that didn't change, by the way, the 85.4. The 42% didn't change from last year as well. This is the percentage of organizations that have paid some form of ransom because their data was encrypted or deleted or destroyed, etc. Not good, obviously, because it's a very lucrative market for the criminals to be able to get some money from you.
And destroy your data.
And destroy your data, because there's no guarantee that they're going to give you back that data, or there's no guarantee that they will not take that data and sell it or use it for something else later. So 72% of SMBs, these are all Canadian stats, by the way, 72% of SMBs expect a phishing attack in 2023. And the last stat is 1 in 5 companies that suffered some form of a malicious data breach in 2022 were infiltrated due to a compromised credentials. So again, it's still important to have password etiquette or password hygiene. It is still, one of the most, I guess, most important way, or the easiest way, the most effective way for criminals to get into it. And how did they do that? With phishing, obviously. So every year there is an organization that does what they call a gone phishing tournament. And what they do is they ask for people to volunteer their email address and to be part of this campaign or tournament to see if they can spot a spam. So 1.2 million volunteers registered for this. So there were 1.2 phishing emails that were sent. And I'm happy to say, or to see, not to say, but I'm happy to see that only 4% of the participants clicked on any of the malicious links. So if I compare that to last year, it was at 20%. So that's good. It means that, news is getting around, people are more vigilant, training, cybersecurity awareness is more relevant, is more popular, I guess, and a lot more of our customers are subscribing to it, which is good, because obviously the goal is 0%. Might never be attainable, but 4% is definitely better than 20%. And of the 4% that clicked, these 44% of those people ended up going all the way to the form that was a link with their user credentials or downloaded a file and whatnot. So that's still alarming, but less alarming than last year, because it was at 75%. But again, all it takes is one credential, and that hacker has his way with your environment.
But it also speaks to, again, the amount of training, the amount of education that is being done around cybersecurity is working, right? People are getting it, and they're less likely to click on links that are malicious, or do something, enter their personal information or confidential information if something looks fishy, if we can use that word. So this is good news, and this is another, and again, this is not a one-time thing either, right? You have to consistently provide this information or provide this training to the employees, because first of all, things change, and secondly, we all know we're really busy during a day. People have 100 things going on at the same time, and so repetitiveness becomes a way of learning, right? The more you see it, the more you retain it.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So speaking of that, the repetitiveness and the ability to train your people and for them to understand what they're living through in the IT side. What's the human firewall? You can put every single security solution that is out there within your network, and your single form of weakness, your only weakness after that would be the user, the employee. Again, the weakest link, because of the fact that they're susceptible to be clicking on certain things that they shouldn't be. You may have a security solution that stops 99% of your spam, but that 1%, if it gets to the wrong individual, that's what causes this chain effect of them getting their credentials, getting into your network, and then taking their time to figure out how they can attack and how they can either encrypt or extract any kind of data. So the human firewall aspect is really not an actual solution or a product, but it's training, it's awareness. So we do that with published content about specific topics that are relevant right now. It is constantly updated to always reflect what's happening in the cyber landscape right now. So it's education, it's the training aspect, it's formalized. So it's not something where you just go on YouTube and you can click on anything to try and get some form of information. It's actually created and distributed by reputable security firms. So it's solid information. And obviously, while the users are being trained, Well, there's phishing campaigns that are happening at the same time. So we're preparing email templates and specific things to target some of your employees and sending them at different times of the day and at different people, not all at the same time. And what that does is it simulates the real life of getting a spam and seeing if your employees are still vulnerable and susceptible to clicking some of these emails. And that in turn gives us the reporting and the monitoring aspect, because we can see what's going on in real time, and we can actually see the training progress of all these employees, whether or not they follow through on their training curriculum. Sometimes you can correlate the active clickers or the constant clickers versus, are they the same people that are not doing the training? So again, this is all a program that we put in place, that 12-month program actually, that allows the repetitiveness to come kick in, so that everybody becomes a little bit more aware of what they should and shouldn't do when it comes to spam and etiquette in IT in IT security or cybersecurity in general.
Yeah, the reporting allows you to really just identify the people that need maybe a little bit more
That's
help,
right.
or a little bit more training, and that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. And it's not we don't use this as a way to slap them on the wrist and say you shouldn't have done that, shame on you. It's just a way to train them so that we avoid it, right, to reduce that risk. So with that being said, let's play some games, or one game. So we're going through 6 questions that we've actually taken from the cybersecurity awareness program. So there's a lot of questions in there. We've just taken 6 of them for you. So see if you can get the answers to that. But these are an example of the typical questions that you may see in your training. And there are 5
Actually,
Phish,
6. Actually, 6. Yeah.
6 Phish or legit email samples that may or may not be spam, and we'll leave it up to you to decide, and we'll see how it goes. So
Yeah.
I guess we're ready.
Let's go.
We'll start with question number 1. So how it's going to work is I'll ask the question, you'll see the answers. Maria will activate the survey. You'll make your selection or selections, and then we'll give you the answer, follow up with your answers as well as the real answer. So question number 1, which one of the following would help most if your files were encrypted by ransomware? One answer: not clicking on links in suspicious email messages, never disabling antivirus software, not opening attachments in unexpected emails, and saving your business files on the organization's network. Which one would help most if your files were encrypted by ransomware?
The key word there is encrypted.
Mm.
All right, let's open the poll and give everybody a chance to vote. So there's only one right answer, or one best answer, I should say. And again, the question: which one of the following would help most if your files were encrypted by ransomware? Let's give everybody an opportunity to vote. Now remember, your files are already encrypted. Just gonna give it a few more seconds and make sure we get as many votes as we can. All right. We should have like a timer.
Yeah.
All right, I think.
A little jingle.
Yeah, oh yeah. What is it, the Jeopardy thing?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, I'm gonna close the survey. We got quite a bit of votes in, so I'm gonna close that, and I'm gonna share the responses from everybody. So 34%. 34% said not clicking on links in suspicious email messages. 38% said never disabling antivirus software. 10% said not opening attachments in unexpected emails, and 17% said saving your business files on the organization's network. So
Survey says
Survey says.
Saving your business files on the organization's network. The keyword, Maria, you mentioned it, is your files, if your files were encrypted. So the first three answers are actions that you should take, I guess, yeah, before you get hacked. But the actual question says, what would you do, or what would be more helpful if your files were encrypted, which means you got attacked? So what do you do now? So obviously the saving of your business file would be the best action, because you can't really at 100% do the first three. You may click on something by mistake. It may happen. You may click on an attachment. It may happen. It may disable your antivirus, may be disabled, whether it's been done by you or whether the antivirus itself, the software, doesn't work. These are things that could happen, and in doing so, obviously, you're still at risk. So the only thing that can save you is really the ability to save your files somewhere where it can be stored safely, securely, and can be backed up elsewhere. So obviously, you know, the 3-2-1 backup rule goes into effect, where just make sure you have a proper backup, because most of the time, the only way to get your data back safely is to go back to a backup and restore that information without it costing you a lot of money.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a trick question, I think,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So question number 2. All of the following are common characteristics of a phishing email, except for one. Again, a tricky question. There's only one that is less common, I would say, less common.
All right, so yeah, the answers includes a hyperlink button that you are asked to click. It conveys a sense of urgency, asking for immediate action. It is addressed to you specifically. It contains logos and names of recognized entities. So let's launch the survey and get your responses to see which one you think is the best answer to this question. And again, all of the following are common characteristics of phishing email except one. Oh. Get him some good answers here. All right, we're gonna give it just a few more seconds.
What does good mean? Good as in good answer, the right answer, or good as in the bad answer?
Oh, good as in the right answer, yeah.
Okay.
And the answers came quick, so
Good.
yeah. All right, just a couple more seconds and then we'll shut it up. And here we go. And so we're going to share the results. So 3% said it includes a hyperlink button that you are asked to click. It conveys a sense of urgency, asking for immediate actions. That's 3% as well. 69% said it is addressed to you specifically. And 24% said it contains logos and names of recognized entities. So let me hide that.
So the least common is the actual fact that it's addressed to you specifically. A lot of times it'll just say not have your name. Although the trend is going towards more of a ability to the tools are allowing them to actually send it with your name on it. But the most popular one here and most common is the sense of urgency. Every single spam will have some form of sense of urgency saying you need to do this right now. Your password has to be reset. This has to be fixed. Here's a link to that. You have to get this done now. So look for that in spam emails. The sense of urgency is usually what triggers a lot of employees or a lot of users when they're running several applications at the same time, clicking a few things, receiving a phone call, they open that email, you have to get this done now, you're curious, you click on it, and then, you know, that's how it starts. So obviously the including of the hyperlink button is always there, and the logos and names of entities are very popular now, so it's very hard to differentiate a true email versus a spam. But the least one right now is the addressing to you specifically, although I think in the next couple of years there will find a way to ensure that it comes to, and that they let you think that it's actually a good email because it's actually addressed with your name.
With artificial intelligence, so these
Yeah,
emails are
well,
going to get just harder and harder to decipher. But
that's right. And then, with the amount of information that's available on the web, it's somewhat easy to have emails sent to you or fraudulent emails sent to you with your name on it.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 3. Which of the below is not a common technique used by cyber criminals in phishing attacks? Sending email messages, sending text messages, hacking into networks, making telephone calls. Which of the below is not a common technique used by cyber criminals in phishing attacks?
There is only one right answer.
Only
Well,
one
not
right
right,
answer.
but one good answer. Let's say.
Yeah.
Now let's launch the survey and give everybody an opportunity to get their votes in. So again, this is not a common technique used by cybercriminals in phishing attacks. And it's a tough one, right? Because everybody knows the usual ones, but not everybody, I should say. I guess, we're in this industry and we see this all the time, so we assume
Yeah. We
everyone else
assume.
would,
We
but
assume.
that's a very bad assumption.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've got almost everybody. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, so let's close this off and share the results. So 0% said sending email messages, very good. Sending text messages, 13%. Hacking into networks, 37%, and making telephone calls, 50%. Interesting.
So again, the answer was kind of in the question. We're talking about phishing attacks, and in phishing attacks, it's actually done through either text, emails, and phone calls, or phishing as they call it. It's not done through hacking your networks. That's actually the traditional old school way that criminals used to hack into your network. They try and brute force and try and get into your network. And they're trying to find the path of least resistance to get into your network, and which of course is your employee. So what they do is they most commonly use emails, texting, and a mix of phone calls with that as well to try and get into your network, because it's a method of phishing attack, not a method of network attack. It was, I guess, a trick question we had. We didn't invent them, eh? They came on the platform. So
came from,
these are the types of questions you have to expect from them. Keeps you on your toes.
The questions on those quizzes that you tried to get 100% on. Yeah.
It reminds me of the vendor questions. I hope there's no vendor on this call, because the vendor questions are trick like that.
There you go.
All right, so question number 4, which of the following are best practices to protect yourself from being a victim of phishing messages and websites? There are many answers. So never click on links and buttons in a message. After clicking on a link, verify the legitimacy of the site. Activate the anti-phishing functionality of your browser, and always be skeptical of messages that ask for personal information. Several answers. Which one are the best practices to protect yourself from being a victim of phishing messages and websites?
All right, let's launch the poll. Again, which are the best practices to protect yourself from phishing messages and websites? The first one is never click on links, buttons in a message. After clicking on a link, verify legitimacy of the site, activate the anti-phishing functionality of your browser, and always be skeptical of messages that ask for personal information. People thinking?
I don't know why I thought the questions would be easy.
I don't know. I was
It's our second
looking at
pass, and I'm realizing that they're pretty clever.
Yeah, they are clever. That's for sure. All right, I think we've got pretty much everybody. So let's close this off and share the results. So 70% said never click on links, buttons in a message. 20% said after clicking on a link, verify the legitimacy of the site. 63% said activate the anti-phishing functionality of your browser, and 93% said always be skeptical of messages that ask for personal information. Most of you are right, I would say.
Yeah. The three
Let me
higher
just...
percentages are spot on. We had the same result this morning with our other one.
Yeah.
So yes, these three answers are good. After clicking on a link, verify the legitimacy. Too late, you got spammed. Something happened in the back end. A script of some sort was downloaded. So that's why it's very important to not click on any of those links, because just a simple click brings it to a site that potentially has back-end scripts that just runs automatically. So again, the key word was how to protect yourself from being a victim of the phishing messages. If you're clicking on something and then checking to see if you're okay, chances are it might be too late.
Yeah, and if it does give you a link to a website, instead of clicking on the website, if it's I don't know,
Type it manually. Yeah.
Hydro or something, so just go into that site like you normally would. Don't click on the link. Go in through your regular route or route, and go that way instead of clicking on the link.
Yeah. Good.
All right.
My favorite question. Of the following choices, which would be considered a good password? QWERTY, 1. Win the match with a mixture of caps and lowercase and an ampersand and a exclamation mark. Or your birthday, so a bunch of numbers, I guess, year, month, days. Or I enjoy summer with, again, a mix of uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and characters. A couple of answers, 3 answers, 4 answers, a few answers here.
Yeah, select all the ones that you think are
There are
the
2,
proper
3, or
answer.
4 answers.
You're a funny guy, Sergio. Let me launch the poll.
Yeah. Now everyone's doubting it. It's like, what's going on? Which one's right?
Oh, no, you didn't. I don't think you got them. I don't think you
Okay,
did.
that's good. I'm glad. Prove me wrong.
Please.
Yeah.
All right, we're almost at everybody's voted. Yep. Yep, I think we're there. All right, let's close that off and share the results. So we have 17% who said QWERTY won. 77% said win the match. 0 said your birthday. Congratulations, that's
Nice.
absolutely right. And 87% said I enjoy summer.
Nice.
So let me hide those and give you the right answers. Yes, so most of you were correct.
Yeah. So what happens now is I'll show you the next slide, but to talk about it, it's becoming increasingly easier for criminals to get into into some sites and into your businesses and whatnot because of the password or the lack of password complexity and length and stuff. So the biggest problem with the first one, QWERTY 1, is number one, it's a bunch of characters, it's a bunch of keys all next to each other, and hackers have tools that automatically know how to do that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, QWERTY, AZERTY, the lower letters of your keyboard and that stuff. These tools are super easy to get that through. So what we're experiencing, or what we're recommending, is to have a minimum of 12 characters now for passwords, and with a mix of upper and lowercase, with a mix of a number and characters. So it's a the second and fourth answers are the best answers, because it's really tricky to get. Actually, it takes a long time to get stuff like that done, and I'll show you why. This is a table that we show on a regular basis in our webinars, and on the left hand side is 2022, and on the right hand side is the most recent version of it. So if you look at the number of characters on the left-hand side, the gray column, at 8 characters. So even if you were to have a password with 8 characters, which I know 75% or maybe 70% of everyone out there is running somewhere below 12 characters. So let's pretend, because we've seen the password. I mean, we know what the policies are with some of our customers. They're all at 8 characters, thinking that 8 characters is good. And even if you have 8 characters, caps, lowercase, a number, a character, last year it used to take 39 minutes for a hacker to get in. Right now it takes 5 minutes, right? Yeah, 5 minutes to get in. So the 8-character password is no longer valid, not good. And what we're recommending right now is a minimum of 12. So the 12 last year used to get you 3,000 years before a hacker can get in. And look at the difference from last year to this year, it's at 226 years. So it gives you an example at how fast it changes and how quickly cyber criminals adapt and figure out and invent, I guess, or create
Or
tools.
get better tools, right?
And get better tools.
And they share them. They're so
Yeah,
nice with each other. They actually share those tools
wonderful.
amongst them.
Yeah. Versus us, where we keep everything. I got something, I'm not giving it to you.
Oh,
So
that's not true. We
no,
share.
but you know, like I'll give you
no.
well, to give a good comparison is like cyber criminals all talk to each other. It's a big community, right?
That's true.
Well, managed service providers don't really all talk to each other and share their tools because they're kind of in competition, but it's not the case for criminals. So it's strange.
Yeah.
So, you know, it gives you an idea that how fast so who knows what's going to happen next year, right? Maybe 12 characters might not be enough. But the important thing to note is that you need to have that at least 12. You need to have upper lowercase, a number and a character, or, you know, take the first 5 words of chapter 14 of your favorite book, and there's just, you know, uppercase, lowercase, couple numbers, and then something that you can remember. I mean, granted, I know you'll probably have like 85 passwords in your head, and it's very hard to do that. But that's why there are password vaults or password managers out there that can help you, you know, with managing all of your accesses to all of your systems. And please, as a recommendation, don't use the same passwords for your personal use versus your business use. That's always a good best practice to have it really segregated. Because if they get into your personal side, chances are they're going to try the same password on the business level.
Yeah. We have a good question from Chris. And he says, what about if you use a system that only allows uppercase, lowercase, and numbers? It doesn't allow, you know, like the ampersand or exclamation
that's okay.
point.
Minimum 12 characters, and you're good. You're good for. You're good. Let's go get that number right here. 12 characters, numbers upper and lower case. On 12 is 53 years, according to the table on the right-hand side.
Yeah. And again, like you were saying, you know, pick a phrase or out of a book or something that you know, it's not, you know, your dog's name or
exactly.
you know, your kid's name or something like that.
So I don't know if that system only gives you 12 characters. If you can bump it up to 13, 14 characters, then obviously you're reducing your risk because you're going to bring it to like 3,000 years and 202,000 years. So that would be a good way to go around that if you have that system that does it.
It's interesting because there's an organization, a financial organization that knows that you can only use lowercase and numbers, which I question. But yeah, you need to make it as long as possible at that point.
Yeah. You know, we have organizations or customers that just want to use upper and lower case, and in that case, we bring them up to upwards of 100 years. So we're looking at 13 characters minimum for upper and lower case, so that you can get your 300 and some odd years, or 14 characters to get you to, like I said, you know, several words in a paragraph or a sentence with a couple of upper and lower case, and you're good to go. Yeah. As long as it's not the word, you know, the word hello 5 times, that's not going to work.
We have another question from Hector. If your application blocks after try 3 or 3 times, I guess, after you try 3 times. Hector, I'm not sure I understand the question. Sergio, did you understand that?
No, I didn't understand it. Is it when you're trying to access something and then it locks you out? I guess so. I'm wondering if he's asking a question with regards to like the password policies, the security policies that you put within, let's say, Active Directory. You know, you would say use a minimum of 12 characters, use upper lowercase and numbers and stuff.
And
then
you can only try 3 times.
yeah, have a
Yeah.
password, you have a user lockout after X amount of attempts, all of that stuff. I'm just wondering if that's it. If that's the case, then yeah, there's your admin should be able to change that and put it to something that's more reasonable, and vice versa. If you're set to like 50 attempts, I think you should reduce it so that in case somebody's trying to
Yeah.
hack your account, have them. I'd rather deal with a user who's calling me saying his password doesn't work than that same user calling me saying they have no more data and they have to pay $500,000 of ransom.
And you know what? You were absolutely right. I think that's what Hector was trying to get
Yeah.
to, is having a policy that,
Yeah.
you can't try, multiple
Yeah.
times. There's a limit to how many times you can try.
Yeah, very
So,
popular with us. There's a set, let's say 10 to 12 parameters within Active Directory that are always set the right way according to best practice. We follow Microsoft's recommendations, so we just go with that. And that helps you because it reduces the risk of, in case a hacker tries to get in and he doesn't know your password, but he's trying a bunch of things, it'll stop it and lock that account. Cool.
excellent.
Nice. Question number 6.
Thank you for the questions.
Yes. Of the choices below, which ones are common symptoms of a malware infection? Several answers. Excessive computer speed, unwanted pop-up windows, frequent computer crashes, a change in your browser's homepage. Which ones are common symptoms of a malware infection?
All right, we're going to launch the survey and see what we get. People know what they're doing. Again, the question of the choices below, which ones are common symptoms of malware infection? Select all that apply. So we've got almost everybody voting. All right, let's close that up and share the results. Oops. All right, so 13% said excessive computer speed, 94% said unwanted pop-up windows, 84% frequent computer crashes, and 71% a change in your browser's homepage. Most of you were right.
So yep, these are common symptoms. Obviously, I'm sure you've seen it or experienced it or talked to somebody who's actually had this happen. I'd love for computers to be excessively fast when getting hit with, but no, that's not the case. It's the opposite. They get slower, obviously. So good, nice answers.
Yeah.
So let's start the phishing. Now, I understand you don't have a mouse. You're not able to click, pass over the links and stuff to be able to see certain things, whether they're valid or not. It might be a little small. I'm going to zoom it in for you. But let's try your best and see if you can spot some of the, whether it's a legit or a phishing email, and see what the results are. I'm going to zoom this one in a little bit.
But Chris says, with regards to the previous question, is like excessive fan speed, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
That's possible.
Which maybe gives the impression that the computer is running faster, but yes, excessive fan speed. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's give you all a little bit of time to read through this, and then we're going to launch the question. Is it a phish or is it a legit email? I think we got enough time. All right, I'm going to launch the poll. So what do you all think? Phish or legit? Wow. It's pretty clear. All right. Give it a couple more seconds for people to vote. Okay. I think we got everybody. All right. So let me share the responses. So 93% said it was a phish, 7% said it was legit.
Fantastic.
And the answer is?
The answer is it's a Phish.
Hmm. On
Um,
multiple levels, you can tell.
multiple levels, yeah, multiple levels. You'll notice, like, we talked about the not being addressed to you as specific. Here's a good example, I guess, because it's not really addressed to one particular person. But
No,
there's a lot of,
it is a group email. So
yeah,
that
but it's not
actually,
like, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But again, it's not hello, hello Maria, right?
But why would it send it to a group email, right? If your
Yeah.
password is expired, like there's so
There's a
many
lot of
things wrong
things
with
that are
this.
wrong here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Microsoft logo's skewed a little. It's off. The sense of urgency. Password's expiring today. Let's go. Do it. Click on my, keep my password, which doesn't even exist as an option, but keep my password. Action required before specific times. Everything's wrong with this. It's just too.
And
It's
the
too much of an
person, like,
urgent email.
yeah, you get it from service maintenance, from a Rudy, like somebody you've never heard of, or a company you've never heard of. Like, it
Yeah.
makes no sense, right?
Yeah. That's right.
All right.
Cool. Next one. Number two, I will probably zoom this in and scroll it up and down so you can see it. Let's start this up. I will start from here, right there.
Give it a minute for people to read through.
Yeah.
Looks like your subscription is coming due there, Sergio.
Mm-hmm. Do I need to go all the way? I can go, yeah, here. So I'm just going to scroll it down that way, just to give you another look.
Okay.
All right.
Hopefully you all had a chance to take a look, and let's launch the survey. Once again, these guys are quick. A couple more minutes, or a couple more seconds, I should say. We're almost there. Give it a couple more seconds so everybody can get their vote in. Okay, close that off and share the responses. So 15% thought it was a Phish and 85% thought it was legit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
I
It
like
is
your
legit.
answers.
Yeah.
It is legit. It is. It's an actual email for a subscription that I have that I received. This is dated last year, obviously. Um, Again, there is no sense of urgency. It's just a letter or an email that says, we're going to continue your subscription. It'll be charged on your credit card or on your PayPal account on this date. Even though I knew I have my subscription and I can, I have a bunch of links like manage the subscription and discover some benefits. I didn't really click on any of this stuff. Like what I did before doing anything, or just making sure that it's a legit email, is I went on my Microsoft portal and I logged in and checked and looked at my subscriptions just to make sure that that was the right information, and it was. So again, why am I doing that? Because I don't know. I mean, I'm getting an email from stremail@microsoft.com. Maybe I don't know what it is. I don't want to click on it. These are things that it just becomes part of my everyday thinking. I get an email, and before doing anything, I check the site out and open up a browser and go on my own way. If I know it's something related to what I've been subscribed to, then I go to my actual, to that portal or that access manually instead of clicking on any of the links that come through an email. Cool.
Very good. Yes.
All right. Number 3, it's a text.
Can you guys see that, or
I can zoom it.
just a little bit to make sure that people can see it? Yeah, there you go.
Like the bottom I don't need, so I can do this.
All right. Pretty short message.
Mm-hmm.
So let's launch the poll. Let's see what you guys think. Phish or legit? All right, look at that. We've got almost everybody voted in, and that was the quickest vote I've ever seen. Yeah, like pretty much everybody's voted in. And so I'm going to close this off and share the responses. And guess what? 100% of the people thought it was a fish.
Fantastic.
Yes, it is fantastic.
So yes, it is. It is a fish, obviously. I think we're more aware of the texts versus the emails. I think we're more. I guess we've learned from experience or from people and from everybody telling us that a lot of times you shouldn't click on any texts with links on it, especially on your phone, because they're just you have no idea where it's coming from, who it's coming from. And again, you're getting a notification of a balance correction for your wireless stuff. You have an app on your phone, you have login credentials with a website to go check. Don't use the phone to click on that link. That's just not going to work.
Oh, but there's so many, like, it doesn't tell me who the company is. It's not
No,
addressed to
no,
me. It's from a number
that's
I
right.
don't recognize.
Very generic. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. There's so many things. Yeah,
No reference to an account number or anything, right?
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So 100% of the people were right.
Yes. Let's
Awesome.
try another one here. Another Zoom. I will start it up here. We got a lot of subscriptions.
It's a sign of the times, Sergio. We use a lot of apps, right? So,
And I will go that way. Okay.
I like this one particularly. All right. How about hopefully we've given you enough time to sort of read through
Yeah.
and we launch the poll and your thoughts. Fish or legit? Again, just quick voting here. I think give it like 3 more seconds and then, yep. All right, we'll close that up and share the results. So 86% thought it was a fish and 14% thought it was legit.
It is in fact a fish. The biggest indication is at the top left-hand side, right? So let's zoom it right there. That's just weird as an email address. Support with a 0 in it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, a sense of urgency again. So stuff like expiration in 3 days, reset your password immediately, click on this link, and then a little disclaimer that says users are the front line of security. Remember to think before you click.
That has
So
got to be one of my
that's like
favorites.
an in-your-face email spam fish.
That is awesome.
Believe it,
Yeah.
we are using this one. So believe it or not, there's some form of this one. I don't know if it's exactly the same, because it's popular, one of the popular templates again, and there are users that click on it. So it proof that they're not reading, right? They're not only reading some,
Well, and
clicking on a
again,
few things. Oh, it's important. I got to click on it, and
yeah,
it's
there's a
yeah,
million things you're doing at the same time, right? It's.
yeah.
All
All right,
right.
number 5, texting. Back to texting.
Yeah. Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Oh yes.
There we go. Maybe just a second or a few seconds to read that through. All right. We will now launch the poll. This one's a bit tougher.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's almost got everybody's vote. I'll give it a few more seconds. See what you think. All right, I think we've collected all the votes. Let's share the responses. So we've got 38% who thought it was a Phish and 62% who think it's legit. So let's hide that. And the answer is, it is legit.
Yeah. Yeah. This is
So
actually something you got, right?
yeah, so I do shop at Ratemans in case anybody wants to know. I did sign up for this, so I do get regular SMS notifications. It's a number that usually comes through. So it's not like it comes out of the blue or anything like that. It's addressed to me. And it also has a notification, which, a lot of the ones that are not legit, they won't give you notifications to say hit to stop receiving SMS notifications, reply, stop, or whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
but regardless, I didn't buy anything at this time around, but I wouldn't, again, click on the link. I would go to the Ratemans and go and check out their sales just like I normally do without clicking on any links, right? So I would go to their site directly. I would not click on the link, even though, uh, you know, I'm expecting this kind of stuff from them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So the whole point is that, right? Just before you click on anything or take action, just take a step back, take a couple seconds just to think about whether or not it's something that's really meant for you. If you are a subscriber of that service,
yeah,
and again, I do the same thing. I would never click on, even though I'd be part of Reitman's, I would most probably not click on that link and just open up a browser and then go to the website and start shopping.
yeah, and the Ratemans will give you the sales on their site. Don't
There you go.
worry.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And the last one.
Oh, this one's good.
Let me zoom it in. Start here. Move it a little bit more here. Okay. And I will slowly go up to right there. I'm going to zoom it out a little. There you go.
All right. Hopefully we've given everybody time to have a look, and let's launch the poll. Oh, what do you think? Again, quick voting here. We've got almost everybody. Give it like a few more seconds. Okay, close this off and share the results. So we've got 92% who think it's phishing and 8% who think it's a legit email. And the answer is?
It is a Phish. Once again, that email, the sender email address is wrong, fake. And it's not addressed to you, dear employee. Like you're just a number and an employee. And usually what you get with this is, yeah, if you're working for a company that wants to put two-factor in place, they're probably communicating with you, letting you know there's going to be changes, improvements in the security. This is too generic of an email, like very generic. It's not addressed to you. Even coming from a weird source, it just looks too generic.
Well, and if your company is going to do two-factor, like you said, first of all, they're going to tell you about it,
Yeah,
in a company-wide broadcast.
yeah,
But also, they're probably going to give you a process. So you're going to get an email from XYZ.
yeah,
This is what the process is going to look like for you. And if you have any questions, call, this number or this, or send an email to this place. Like they're going to give you a process. They're not just going to
yeah.
implement and give you nothing except, yeah, register here. It doesn't
So
make any
more and more,
sense.
the 2FA thing is obviously there's a lot of businesses putting the two-factor authentication in place.
Hmm.
So this might be a common, this might be a real popular phishing email that you might get hit with. But in all of our instances, every single one of our implementations of some form of 2FA, irrelevant of the vendor, we've always worked with the customer to inform the users first before putting anything in place. Like I don't see an instance where you would just decide to activate 2FA across the board and just, here you go, user, just get confused and call me if you have any problems, right? Usually there's some form of communication. So this is way too generic.
Very good.
Yeah, and that concludes our questions and emails. And I'll pass it over to you for the cheat sheets.
Yeah, so as we promised in our invites, so we are making some cheat sheets available to you. You can download them at the link that you see on the bottom, but I am putting it in the chat, so it's easy for you to go and click and download the cheat sheets. And again, these are just little tips and tricks to look at or to read through to see, just ask yourself questions when, like as we say, think before you click. So ask yourself the questions, does this look like a weird email, or on social networks, staying safe on social networks. So if you would like to download it, you can. And like I said, I just put the link in the chat to make it easier for you, although you will get it with a recording later on today. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the questions panel. We'll be happy to answer them. But in the meantime, I did want to thank everybody for joining us. We again encourage you to download the cheat sheets and reach out to your local MicroAge with any questions. We do hope to see you on our next MicroAge Talks Technology on January, or the webinar, I should specify, June 15th. We will present part 2 of a 3-part series on cybersecurity layers that we're doing. In that session, we'll be concentrating on the network and the endpoints and going through that. So, earlier Sergio was talking about backups. So we're going to the backups actually is in September, where we go a little bit more deeper, but in this webinar, we're going to focus on the network and the endpoints and, so the certain things that you need to do from a cybersecurity standpoint in that space. So, so once again, thank you, Sergio, for everything. You're awesome. And thank you all for spending the last hour, actually. Yeah, we're just a minute away from the end. So thanks very much for being with us. And we wish you a great rest of the day. And hopefully you found the webinar of value and you learned something today. So thank you very much. And we'll see you next month.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.